Welcome everyone to my dad and I's road trip driving from Amsterdam, the Netherlands to Mumbai, India. In today's video, we'll be discussing driving through Turkey, crossing the Gürbulak border between Turkey and Iran, and driving through Iran towards the Turkmenistan border. The first thing we have to mention about Turkey is that it's an incredibly easy place to drive. There's beautiful new roads and tunnels, and there's plenty of opportunities to stop for chai and have a snack on the side of the road.
Perfect, thank you.
Aywa, very good. MashaAllah.
Very much. Thank you. Teşekkür ederim.
What is it? Nimia.
After making our way through Antalya towards Gaziantep, we originally wanted to sleep the night in Gürbulak before crossing the Iranian border. But after some searching for hotels on booking.com in the area, we settled on Chaldiran, which was 1.5 hours from Gürbulak. The following morning, after spending the night in Chaldiran, we headed towards the Iranian-Turkey border. Along the way to Gürbulak, we spotted the Ararat mountain, an extinct volcano that's rumored to be the resting place of Noah's Ark. We entered the Turkish side of the Gürbulak border at 10:15 a.m.
Well, that's almost Turkey done, on the way to Iran. Now at the border, it was very interesting. It was a simple border. The inspection leaving Turkey was quite intensive. But when we were done, after a lot of arm wrestling and trying to keep people away and skipping the line, we had the last thing to do was clearance from the immigration police, checking our passport. We handed over our passport and he said, "Oh, your name comes up for an Interpol interview." And that was strange. So after an hour waiting, we then spoke to a few people who were also waiting for their passport to be cleared. And they said, "We're here already since 1.5 days. It was a couple from England. Incredible, 1.5 days? Then of course, a slight panic attack. I thought like, no. There's no way that we are going to wait 1.5 days without a place to sleep at the border here to Iran. So what we did then, we checked with a truck driver, and the truck driver said, "Let him check again your passport number, because maybe there's something wrong." So with a big wink, we went to the officer again, and we said, "Are you sure it's Interpol?" Probably he understood very well that we wanted to move on, and he said, "Now let me check, maybe the police can do it." And then voila, 5 minutes later, after a few questions about the value of the car, because if you have a newer car, you can't enter to Iran and exit from Turkey. So it was quite complicated, and it took a long time. Probably all in all, we were 2 hours at the border. But then when we were through, and we had a big smile because we were able to maneuver ourselves with the help of the truck driver out of Turkey. Quite complicated.
Then we crossed into the Iranian side of the border. We were graciously greeted by our fixer. He asked for 20 euros to assist us through the entire process, but my father handed him 50 euros to get us through the border as quick as humanly possible. We were allowed to skip the long line in immigration, and within 30 minutes we were let through the border. Hardly any inspection was done to the car. They briefly opened all the doors and checked inside our cooler box that was in the trunk. That's it. After that, we went to the insurance office. Our fixer joined us in our 2-seater car, squeezed in the middle. We were allowed to wait in the car at the insurance office, and then we went to the money exchange with him, which was just down the road. We exchanged 50 euros, gave him that in cash. We definitely got scammed with the conversion rate. Of note, it was probably the easiest border crossing we had in our entire trip. And then we were finally in Iran, now on the way to Tabriz. We actually had several issues since we had no Wi-Fi. The only waypoint in our navigation was Tabriz city center, not our specific hotel that was booked. Our car has very bad navigation and can only bring you to specific cities, not waypoints or points of interest. Therefore, we struggled to find our hotel. After driving around Tabriz for an hour, we asked some people and got directions to the hotel. We either misunderstood the directions or they didn't understand where our hotel was, because we ended up in a completely different hotel. Luckily, they allowed us to connect to their Wi-Fi and we could add the navigation to our original hotel in Google Maps on our phones. Once we made it to the hotel, we checked in and we had to leave our passports at the reception. There was a mall connected to our hotel, so we spent some time walking around and looking at the different stores. Following morning, we made our way to Tehran. We learned from our mistakes and preloaded the navigation into our phone to our hotel in Tehran. The hospitality in Iran was on another level. The people were so friendly, so kind, they always wanted to help you. Someone even wanted to give us an apple on the highway. From Tehran, we originally planned to drive to Mashhad and discover some of the sites there. However, logistically, looking at the time and how Mashhad was not exactly on the way to the Turkmenistan border, where we wanted to cross, we ultimately decided to sleep the night in Sabsever, 3 hours from the border to Turkmenistan. We didn't have enough money when we arrived at the hotel, and of course, no credit cards or debit cards of ours were accepted. In the other hotels we were able to pay in US dollars, but no luck at this one. This was a much smaller hotel and not upscale like the others we were staying in. Actually, the hotel didn't even want us to sleep the night. They kept asking what we were doing in Sabsever and if we were tourists or if we were working in Iran. Another guest saw what was happening, an Iranian local, and he could fortunately speak English and help translate. He even paid for our hotel room and we paid him back in euros. Again, Iran was filled with amazing people. We cannot understate that enough. Some important things to know when overlanding in Iran. Always make sure to carry enough cash on you, whether it be paying for a gas station or for your hotel. Alternatively, it's also useful to carry US dollars because you can exchange those at your hotel reception or at any currency exchange. Additionally, we heard about fuel cards being used in Iran, but we didn't really notice and didn't have a problem as we could always take petrol wherever we wanted. A special shout out to Afghanistan.com. They have so many resources and first-hand accounts of people driving in Iran and the other standlands that we used this an enormous amount in the planning of our trip. And then it was time. It was time to cross the Iran-Turkmenistan border and drive to Ashgabat. Stay tuned to the next part because you will not believe what happens next.